Hi, everyone. Today is October 20th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Pacific time, doing our regular Wednesday 6 p.m. live Q&A, questions and answers about general education issues regarding U.S. immigration. We have a good crowd that's regular and new people pop up, and a lot of you schedule consultations. So I'm really just happy to see that this program really helps out. We're going to be coming up with a second program. It's not going to be live, it's going to be recorded with my new associate. That's going to be coming up hopefully next week, but we'll keep you posted on that new show. We're going to do a lot of stuff to share this information about U.S. immigration because I know how difficult it is for a lot of people. And the information is really inconsistent, hard to find, all that. So I'm going to do my best to try to help you all out with that. Having said that, has there been news in the immigration system? There's news every day. But for the most part, foreign cases who are doing consular processing are just not moving forward in many parts of the world. Some are, some aren't. And USCIS is moving forward. I'm having a lot of adjustment of status interviews for marriage cases, citizenship cases. Some of them get done in, a couple of weeks even. I've had colleagues get their naturalization cases done in like 4 weeks. That's crazy. But some of them take a year. So the inconsistency is still there in the process. They're trying to work their way around it, but that's just what we're dealing with. So with that, let's get it started. All right. So as everyone starts to trickle in, we're going to just talk about some general immigration stuff till the crew comes in and you tell me your questions. The one thing that pops up a lot is whether to bring an immigration lawyer to an interview, and I don't make it a requirement. Some lawyers do. They say if you're going to do an adjustment of status interview, a naturalization interview, any other kind of interview with USCIS, it is best to they make it mandatory even to have an attorney present. Now, I don't always do that for probably half my cases. More than half, I say you don't have to have me come. But a lot of people say we'd rather have you there anyways. And the ones that don't have me come, it works out well. Now, if a client had major red flag issues, and I'll talk about what those typically are, I say, I have to come, or even at the beginning, I notice them, and I say I have to come because my goal is to make sure I get an approval. I don't want to have denials on my record. But most of the time, they don't have these. And just for example, the three things that are typical is that if they pop up, I see I have to come. One is if the foreign person who's getting the status has criminal history. It's important to have a lawyer there to explain it. Secondly, if they don't speak English well, and they might not be able to answer the questions properly. And third is, if some people get really nervous. Some people get really nervous and then they answer things wrong. They look kind of fishy. They don't know what to do. And I want to be there in that circumstances. But even without that, sometimes it's good to have a lawyer there because the presence of a lawyer has a psychological effect. There's an additional person in the room acting as a witness to what's going on. They could push back without looking bad for the client. Because if I fight back on an officer who's being overzealous, which is rarely the case, it doesn't make the clients look bad. They look innocent in all this. So it's me taking on the heat. And it really calms down clients. And again, that witness aspect of taking notes of what's going on. If there's something fishy going on, if the questions aren't asked properly, I could jump in there, try to control the situation or complain to a supervisor. It's hard for you to do on your own when you're just tuning in and just showing up because you don't know what's going on. I go to the same office, for example, Los Angeles every week. So it's very comfortable for me there to jump and say something because I've been there so many times. So that's my the basics about coming to an interview. Got some questions coming in right now, but I do want to remind those watching the live show that we have free video consultations for those watching the show every 10 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 20 minutes from now, or 15 minutes and 25 minutes from now. We're going to announce winners. And how do you join to be a winner of a free consultation, a 15-minute video consultation? Well, if you're watching this live, click like and subscribe to the channel. And then in the comments, write consultation. And my wonderful assistant, Kayla, will name somebody, again, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and 25 minutes. And I'll give you instructions then on how to connect to get that free video consultation, 15 minutes. Also, one more thing I'll remind you is for those interested in a family-based, particularly a marriage-based immigration case, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide to really break down the process of what's going on in immigration. You can do that at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Download it even if you don't do a marriage case. You have a family case, employment-based case, you'll learn a lot from it, and you'll see, just what kind of person I am by the amount of material I have in that book for free. So check it out at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And with that, let's take the questions. Love asks, have been approved for expedite for the National Visa Center. That's wonderful. Sent my case to Port-au-Prince Embassy 4 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything about the interview. What should I do? So the National Visa Center is when you're doing a case where a person has to go to the U.S. Embassy to get the immigrant visa. Beforehand, you send it to the National Visa Center, all these documents, and once it's approved, they send it to the embassy. Here they say an expedite was approved. It's been 4 weeks. Usually it doesn't take that long. First thing you could do is contact the embassy and say, hey, we had an expedite approved. Can you let me know what's going on? If you don't get a response, probably like a week or 10 days, contact your local congressperson, let them know that an expedite was approved, but things aren't moving forward. What's the deal? Could they help out in any way? I haven't really heard of Haitian cases being moved forward. Port-au-Prince is Haiti, right? I could just be sure. I haven't really, because we have a lot of people that have consular processing cases from Haiti. I don't have any active myself right now, but they post here and everyone's saying nothing's moving forward. So if they approve an expedite, then they should. But I haven't heard good stuff. But that's the thing. Contact the embassy, see if they got the memo. And if that doesn't work, contact your local congressperson or senator and say, hey, could you help me out on this? I don't know what's going on, but I hope you're able to get it done. I think you're a regular on the show. We've talked before, or at least on the show, and even in a free chat. Let me, hopefully it works out. I'm sorry to hear that. I'll keep you posted, whatever happens. YHS, sir, I'm originally from Pakistan and recently became a U.S. citizen. Congratulations. So I'm a dual citizen now. Is it legal to use Pakistani passport and leave the United States and U.S. passport to return? So when you're leaving the United States, U.S. doesn't really track it. They're supposed to, but they never did. But you can always leave. No one's going to ask you about your passport. It's more about the country you're going to, what visa you need, or where you can go. So for example, if you're leaving from the U.S. to go to France, you're going to want to use your U.S. passport because you don't need a visa to visit France, but probably do for EU visa or Schengen visa if you're Pakistani or using your Pakistani passport. Sorry, I just realized I think I'm talking really fast, so I have a habit of just running when I'm talking. But when you're coming to enter the United States as a U.S. citizen, you always have to use your U.S. passport. Now, some people lose it, they don't, they come in with a foreign passport, blah, blah. But the rule is that if you're ever going to enter the United States, you have to identify yourself as a citizen with your passport. There's variances. You might have your naturalization certificate at the border. You can walk in with that. But I don't want to get into all that kind of stuff. But generally, what you're doing should be fine. Whenever you're entering the United States, bring your passport. And if you're going to certain countries, if you're going back to Pakistan, just use your Pakistani passport. It's no problem. That's what I would do. 29 Super C asks, good night, Attorney Khosravi. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, 29 Super C, one of our regulars. Please tell us of any news of reducing backlogs at the U.S. embassies and consulates, any updates on immigration reform in Congress. As you know, I don't track what's going on in Congress on immigration because it usually doesn't go anywhere. And if it is going to go somewhere, it does. I'll probably be quick to explain what it is. But with regards to the statistics, I was looking at this a couple weeks ago. But a month or two ago, let me back it up. There's this big backlog of cases that are pending embassy interviews. And about a month or 2 months ago, there were like 500,000 cases. And the National Visa Center or the Department of State said, typically we have 50,000 cases. Right now we have backed up. Now we have 500,000 cases. This was 2 months ago, kind of like looking at the current August timeline. I can't remember what it was. And looking back 2 years at the 2 years ago, August, before the pandemic. But I was looking at 2-3 weeks ago, I went from 500, 550 to like 400. So the backlog dropped. But then when they said 2 years ago around this time how much it was like, 15,000 cases or 20,000 cases of backlog. So the total numbers went down, but relative to historical numbers, it's still even larger than it ever was. So it's a weird statistical thing that's happening. They are kind of working through cases, but it's a mess. I don't have any good info or good news yet regarding embassy processing, and that's the unfortunate case. Like there's things like the U.S. in Turkey, Ankara, Turkey said they're not going to do interviews for immigrant visas. These are green card cases unless the person is a resident of Turkey. But also in the last week, they updated the website without much fanfare, and they said, they're changing that. If you're doing a family case, it's okay if you don't live in Turkey. But if you're doing a diversity visa lottery, you have to be a Turkish citizen or national. If you're doing an employment-based case, you have to be a Turkish national. So that's really unfair, especially for the diversity visa. But they switched it up. Don't tell anybody. I still have cases pending on Carl over a year. Nothing's moving forward. So I don't know who to believe, what's going on. And that's really the truth right there. I don't even think they know what's going on. It's just a unique situation, a hot mess, frankly. And we're just trying to get through it. But that's about it, 29 Super C. Thanks for the question, though. About golf laws, one other regular said, I had an interview for my I-485, that's adjustment of status green card, September 27th. After the interview, the status changed to interview was completed and my case must be reviewed. Should I worry my case hasn't been approved yet? Well, typically most cases are approved within at the spot or within 48 hours. So I can't say whether you'd be worried or not because I don't know your case, but I've had it where it's taking like a month for no reason. But I can't tell you whether worry or not because I don't know the details. But I've had it before where a case took a month after the interview and they got approved. There was no reason for it to lag that long. But I knew the case was strong, so I had no worries. I said, okay, this person the officer's just being lazy or something like that. But I don't know enough details about your case to be able to answer. We may have talked before golf. I had a private video consultation. I can't remember the details. But to really analyze it, I have to open up a case, read your I-405 adjustment, talk with you and the petitioner, all this kind of stuff. I really have to do a full analysis. So that's about it. But thank you for your question. Taji asks, what if I lose my job after getting the green card, EAD, EB3? How many days to find another job? So if you applied for a green card and you got your work authorization while the case was pending, this is a sticky situation. So first of all, there's a lot going on here. You really need to have a private consultation with a lawyer. So if you had an I-140 submitted and you submitted your form I-485 adjustment of status and you got an EAD, so I'm assuming you did file for it and it's pending. If 180 days pass while the I-485 is pending based on an approved I-140, then you could switch jobs. And how much time do you have? You have the time until the case is adjudicated. It could happen sooner, it could happen later. I don't know. I don't know when you filed the adjustment case, and the timelines aren't that consistent. But the reality is you got to find the same or similar job as soon as possible and hope that the adjustment of status I-485 has been pending 180 days to be able to qualify for portability. So if you notice, I said a lot of different nuanced stuff, names, numbers, and stuff like that. It gets complicated, so you really need to talk to a lawyer in private to review the whole case. But if you qualify for portability, be able to change job, you need to find as soon as possible and file form I-485J so the government recognizes the new job position the same or similar. So there's a lot of stuff that has to happen, but you guys do as soon as possible because we don't know when your case is getting approved. And if it gets approved and you didn't have the job, later on, it could be a problem potentially. It could pop up if they do an investigation at citizenship time. So it's an unfortunate situation, but you need to just get on top of it, get a job, whatever means possible. But thank you for your question, Tanaji. Sal asks, hi, any idea when the embassy and CAR will resume immigrant visa interviews for Iranians? Hi, Sal. Fortunately, I don't. I have cases now over a year pending. I emailed them this morning, actually, and said, hey, you updated your website. You said you removed the requirement for immigrant visa interviews for family-based cases. Is that the case, and will my cases move forward? They haven't responded yet. I doubt I will get a response, but I thought, hey, go to the source and see what they say and share that information. But no good news at all for Iranian cases, whether you're in Turkey, Armenia, or UAE. I hear people say they have cases in the UAE moving forward, but I haven't done consular processing in UAE in a while because we were moving everything to Turkey and Armenia because the UAE wasn't good, or Abu Dhabi in particular. But no good news. No good news, unfortunately. So Maro asks, can I apply for humanitarian parole for my fiance from Afghanistan, but we never met before? So you're not applying for anything. Humanitarian parole is something they'll have to apply for. You're not related to him anyway. But I don't handle humanitarian parole cases, so I'm going to limit how much I talk about that. If you're going to do a fiance visa, you can try that out, but you do need to meet. There are exceptions to that, but I'm not sure if you'll fall with an exception. So that's something that has to happen, full analysis of the case. But I don't do humanitarian parole, so you want talk with a lawyer that does humanitarian parole and fiance visas maybe, so you can talk both of them at the same time. So it couldn't be of much help. We forgot to name the raffle winner. I'm so sorry. Hopefully you haven't tuned out. YH, you're our raffle winner. Please email me, take a screenshot where you're watching this, and so I can see that your username is you, and email that to me at info@jqqlaw.com, info@jqqlaw.com, so we can schedule our free video consultation for 15 minutes. Hopefully you're still on the line. For those just tuning in, we do, for the live show, offer free video consultations for 3 lucky winners. We have 2 spots left, one coming up in 5 minutes and one coming up in 15 minutes. So we talk about, in private about this kind of stuff. Just stay tuned. We'll give you instructions. But I'll give you instructions right now. Like, subscribe, and write consultation in the comment section. So my wonderful assistant, Kayla, could name a person for me in a few minutes. And a reminder, if you're interested in a family-based case marriage green card, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a one-of-a-kind guide, the best out there. Download it for yourself, even if you're not doing a marriage case, and see it really is special. At marriageimmigrationlaw.com really breaks down the process, so you know what's going on. You have a strategy built in before you talk with a lawyer. You can test the knowledge of the lawyers you're talking with based on the ebook. I do need to start updating it, but it'll cover you. So hopefully that helps. Let's jump back into questions. I'll be doing ask, hi, how long is it taking to receive a receipt notice from USCIS? Hi, I think you've asked, been online before. It's gone really fast, really. It's taking like a week or two for most cases, but there's always exceptions, things get lost and all that kind of stuff. Last November, it was taking like 2 months to get a receipt notice, which is wild. I've never seen that before. But right now, I'm having checks cashed within a few days and receipts come in within 10 days. So it's gotten really fast, but sometimes there are exceptions, What you want to do when you send stuff to USCIS is, write a personal check so that when it's cashed, you could tell it's there. It was cashed, you could identify it. Also, use form G1145. This is a form where they text message you or email you once the case has been accepted. So that's another thing. And send it with priority mail express, so you know it's going to get there next day. With USPS, is how it is priority mail express. But also have a signature requirement for it. Now, if it arrives there on the weekend, they will not sign for it at USCIS. Sometimes the post office forgets to ask for a signature and drops it off on Saturday or something. But for the most part, they wait on the next Monday, and if you send over the weekend, and they get a signature. So I use those 3 methods to confirm they have the case. Make sure my office check that goes out is cashed. And we get the G1145, client gets a text or email, and we track the mailing. So it's really important to do that kind of stuff to confirm and to be able to back it up that you sent something to USCIS. It's not just for the initial filing, but RFE responses and everything like that. Hopefully you get the receipts soon. Thank you for your question. Sap asks, interview held been 3 months. What should be the next course of action for I-45? I think you're saying you had the interview 3 months ago for adjustment status and nothing yet. You need to talk with a lawyer in private to see what happened. So 3 months is way too long for a case to be waiting. It could be a mess up. It could be just bureaucratic delay. But we got to sit and talk. I don't know what to tell you without reviewing your case. Marok asks, some people say I can't because I haven't met him or her, or we don't have an engagement. Yeah, if you do a fiance visa, you have to have met in person once in the last 2 years. There are exceptions for that if you could prove it. It's really hard to get an exception. So best is to try to go meet in Pakistan or something like that at least once. It's going to be tough. Maybe you can make an exceptional circumstance argument because Afghanistan, the situation there, but I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's a weird situation. It's unique. It's going to be a tough one. Sorry, Marafa. Billy says, I'm on my 5th month now waiting for my work authorization card. Still so long. You think it's going to take? Yeah, it's going to take longer. It's taking like 10 months to get EADs or employment authorization documents right now. Hopefully it's sooner. But the average case that's not being expedited takes between 9 to 10 months. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's that. So you have to wait twice as long as you've been waiting, or 5 more months, let's say. Unfortunately, Billy. Very unfortunate. Sorry about that. The Grace asks, hi, John. Is it really difficult to get a tourist visa to the U.S., entering the United States after U.S. citizen partner already filed for a marriage petition for you? Yeah, it is extremely difficult because you've already indicated that you're going to apply for a green card. Having said that, I've seen it be approved before. It really is going to come down to luck. One main problem you're going to have right now is most embassies are not scheduling tourist visa interviews. So because of the pandemic and being understaffed and stuff, so just getting an interview to apply for a tourist visa is going to be hard right now. But let's say you get the interview, you just be honest with them, let them know you're coming back home. Hopefully you have a job or school or some reason that you need to return back to your home country. So you show that you're not going to go to the U.S. and just stay there, because that is a possibility that you could do once you enter, to just file for adjustment status in the U.S. But it's going to be up to the embassy. So it's up to how much money you want to waste on this. Potentially, as I think it's like $265 or something like that, or $205, I can't remember, for a tourist visa, and then going there and all this kind of stuff. The key for me is, because I have clients ask all the time, I don't mind that you apply for a tourist visa, but just make sure on the form DS-160, which is the main application for a tourist visa, you are consistent with everything that's on the I-130 petition, the marriage petition that you started, and you say everything, and there's no chance that they're going to interpret something as misrepresentation or things that are incorrect, because we don't want to have that visa application come back later to haunt you because you said something inconsistent in that application with what you said in another petition, another interview, or something like that. So my worry is just preventing misrepresentation from happening by accident. But whether it's going to be approved or not, most likely it's not, but it's up to you. I've seen it be approved before, so I've been wrong on this, or the sense like, and not even wrong, it's probably not. The chances of denial are high, but it's not unheard of for approval. It really depends on your luck and your background, and mostly the officer you're dealing with and what they think of you. Jay says, how long will it take to get a response or apply for humanitarian visa for Afghan? I don't handle these cases, but I've seen in general humanitarian parole cases take 2 months and 2 years. I've seen them be approved and then a week later send a denial letter. So, and especially like honestly, every day I get at least five emails from Afghan individuals wanting humanitarian parole. So there's probably tens and tens of thousands, probably 100,000 plus Afghans applying for humanitarian parole right now. And USCIS is not staffed to handle a fraction of that for these kind of cases. So you can expect very long processing times unless they make a system that's streamlined or do something. So I'm not optimistic it's going to be anywhere fast if you're lucky enough to get it reviewed and approved. Excuse me. So I want to name our raffle winner, Ian Lester. Thank you so much for watching the program. Excuse me. I want to announce that you're the winner of our raffle free 15-minute video consultation. Please take a screenshot of where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com so I can see your username to know it's you. And I'll send you information about scheduling it. For those just tuning in, we give out free video consultations, 15 minutes. For those who watch the live show, we have one more raffle winner left at the end of the show in 10 minutes. All you need to do is like, subscribe, and leave a comment saying consultation. And the wonderful Kayla, my assistant, will name a person in 10 minutes for me to name off, and we'll give you instructions from there. And if you're interested, as I've said before, in a marriage green card case, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, the best ebook out there about marriage immigration. And it's free, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. So let's do the next question. Billy asks, I'm on my 5th month now. We already answered this one. YH, I recently filed my I-130 for my parents. From your experience, how long will it take to get approved? What is the next step? Do I need to go for biometrics? So when you file for an I-130, if your parents are overseas, average it takes 8 to 10 months, but it could be longer, it could be shorter. It's just the average. And there's no biometrics required for an I-130 for parents. Essentially, you submit it. Hopefully, you submit everything right. And again, you might get an RFE. Like I just got an RFE for a parent case. It was a U.S. citizen filed for his mom and his dad. Mom got approved at the 9-month mark. Dad got an RFE saying we didn't send the child's birth certificate to prove the parent-child relationship. And we had sent it. It's in the file. It was there. But errors like this happen. So I submitted it, and about 3 weeks later, actually this morning, we got the approval. So that's just the way it is. And then once that's done, you begin preparing for consular processing. Download my ebook, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It really goes over what consular processing is. It has links to my YouTube videos. It might be an easier way to find my YouTube videos that break down all this kind of stuff. So you can check out the links in the ebook or go to my YouTube page. It's there as well. Sap asks, what happened 3 months ago? Case status. I already answered that question. Thank you, Sap. Tony asks, my I-824 was finally approved October 15th. Any idea on embassy processing in Montreal consulate? Can I expedite it? My 7-year-old is an EIP profession speech. Take advantage. So let's back it up a little bit. Tony, how long did it take for the I-824 to be approved? This is really important because I've been getting a lot of people asking. I haven't filed the I-824 recently, but it takes like 8 months. If you know how long it took, and even better, which service center is doing it, it'd be really helpful for the rest of the people that are doing these kind of cases. But what's the next step? Montreal is taking around 8 months right now to schedule an immigrant visa interview. You could make an expedite request. Just contact the embassy first, see if they'll approve it and send to the embassy faster. You got to just contact everybody. Contact embassy first, and then the embassy, and then your congressperson. You just got to push the issue and explain what it is, or else wait 8 months. Now, even though your I-824 is approved, it doesn't mean they're going to send it right away to the embassy. I've had it where they forgot about it. So you need to wait maybe technically 2 months before contacting the embassy to see what's going on. Maybe try it out for a month, but you got to keep an eye on this because sometimes I-240s get approved, but they don't go anywhere. So there's a lot of paying attention. But yeah, you can always do an expedite request if you have good facts and good evidence. So unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear that your 7-year-old has these issues. It's just sad. I've children too. It's just hearing that it is unfortunate. But I hope everything works out. But that's it. But thank you for your question. I wish you the best. And let me know when you file the I-240 so I get some more information. Hashim asks, hi, I'm a U.S. citizen. I applied for my wife's case. Is in process. I have a newborn baby. Should I notify USCIS? It's not notify USCIS. Maybe if you're listed on the birth certificate, yeah, it'd be additional evidence of your relationship. I need to see the whole case to see what's going on in this situation because we also have to talk about whether your child's going to be a citizen or not. They're not always automatically citizens. So I need to just know a lot more about the case so I can properly answer that. if it's needed to even tell USCIS about it. If you had a lot of other good evidence, it might not be a need for it. User 37 says, my dad got approved for the National Visa Center almost a year and transferred U.S. Embassy in UAE. Can we do anything? I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but it seems like NVC was documentally qualified or completed, and the case was at UAE. Nothing's moved forward. That's the situation. No, I don't know your case, so I can't say whether you can do anything, but generally nothing's happening right now. You might be an exception or a little bit different. I don't know the individual details of your case, so I can't give individual advice on that. Is Stephen asks, how old do you have to be to sponsor my father if I'm in the military? 21. If you're going to petition for a parent, you have to be 21 years of age. If your parent is in the U.S. without authorization, without visa and all that kind of stuff, there's a thing called parole in place for active military members. So that's something to look into if you need it. Sorry to be coughing. I think it might take like 2 or 3 more questions or less because the throat's getting away. Amazing morning, John. Watched all the way from Tanuana City, Batangas. Thank you, Raquel. In the Philippines. What do we expect now the travel ban's lifted? We are still waiting for visa interviews. Expect the same. I don't think it's going to make any difference, unfortunately. The Philippines is one of the worst hit. They have one of the highest visa interview rates because there's so many people in the Philippines that they're applying. But I haven't heard of any movement happening in the Philippines yet. So unfortunately, probably you're still going to be stuck until we get notice that they're unstucking things. So if that's a word, unstucking. Unfortunately, just bad news. Same old, Raquel. Hopefully it changes. And if you do get an appointment, let me know so I can share that information with other fellow Filipinos. C asks, can a U.S. citizen and a person with a visitor visa marry in the USA, then go back to the home country of the visitor, and then maybe apply for a visa someday? Will it cause issues? Well, generally it won't. But I had one colleague who told me about a case, and this is secondhand, third-hand information. But I had a colleague who said they had a marriage case where there was a person in India applied for a tourist visa saying, I need to go to my brother's graduation in the United States. And she was approved for the tourist visa, flew into the United States, went to her brother's graduation, and then got married, went back, and then did the full process of marriage visa, go to the embassy, all legit. It was denied at the end for misrepresentation fraud. And the problem was, I guess, the embassy would have asked, are you engaged with somebody? And they didn't say it probably. And so when they got married, they're like, well, why don't you tell us you had a fiance in the United States and you lied to us? Now, the person didn't violate their status in a sense that they came to the U.S. on tourist visa and left. They didn't overstay or anything like that. So typically, immigration lawyers say, yes, no problem. But because in that DS-160, just like what I talked about earlier with someone asking about a tourist visa, my goal as immigration is just that you have consistent and proper information so they don't hit you with misrepresentation or fraud later. So if the person gets a visitor visa and gets married, they need to say in the DS-160 that they're engaged with somebody in the United States that they're getting married with. And if they do that, most likely they're going to get denied the visa. So people don't want to say it. But you got to say it, because if you come and get married, they'll be like, wait, you told us you didn't have anyone in the United States. In the DS-160, you say you're not engaged. You come in and get married, there was a lie over here. And so we're going to accuse you of fraud. And then getting that waiver is going to be a whole mess. So will it cause issues? We got to sit and talk in private to see what the situation is, the background is, all this kind of stuff, and there's planning involved. But the key is always be honest and straightforward with the embassy to avoid longer, dire consequences, although it might have some short-term hits. I'll take one last question. We'll see you guys. I know it causes issues for adjustment status if I'm married within the first 60 days upon entry. There's also, see, there is no issue with getting married within the first 60 days upon entry. I prefer people don't do it, but there's a lot of bad information on the internet and on YouTube that says a 30, 60, 90-day rule with USCIS. USCIS does not have a 90-day rule. I have clients get married on the day they arrive. I've never had a problem when they're marrying a U.S. citizen. But so that I wouldn't repeat that, because a lot of lawyers, even on YouTube, again, they talk about this, don't get married for 60 days stuff. That's not per se true. But there's just a lot more going on. So I'd want to sit and talk with the couple that's doing this case so they could plan it out better. Let's take one more question. Unfortunately, I can't take more of that. This throat's not going to give way. Thank you, everyone, for saying thank you and all this kind of stuff. But Stella asks, my boyfriend is the U.S. Army. I'm a student who's out of status. How do I become a U.S. citizen? Well, if you're an F1 student out of status, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you just file for adjustment status. Now, I don't know the details of your case. We need to talk about that. But, if you like schedule a private consultation, email my office. Fees do apply. I'll tell you what it is in the email. You know what? I'm just going to name you as the free raffle winner, Stella. So email me at info@jqklaw.com. Take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I can see it was you and not someone else tuning in, Stella. But email me. We'll have a quick chat about it, so I explain what's going on. Take it from there. But that's about it. Thank you so much for everyone participated. Sorry we couldn't get to everybody and get consultation to everybody. The time's limited, and this throat can only handle so much. I had to wake up today at 5 a.m., go to USCIS for an interview. The case didn't get approved on the spot, which it should have. But about 3 hours later, we got notification that it was approved. So that was good news. Marriage case took much longer. We filed it in February 2020. All my cases that I filed in February 2020 had been approved within a year. This one, a year and a half goes by. Finally got the interview. You're worried, why did it take so long? Just bureaucracy. But that's about it. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time to take your questions. Thank you, everyone. You all have been so wonderful. Hopefully we talk soon and I can catch up with you all. Bye-bye. God bless.